St. Louis, city boys, what it do? From the arch to the booth, we talk about you. City boys in the loop.
Shout out to the St. Louis City Boys podcast.
They're in your head just like Roman Berkey. This is a City Boys podcast.
City leads you into the City Boys podcast right now.
Hey, Queens and In-Betweens, welcome back to the City Boys podcast. Since the last time we talked, we have featured on Red Smoke Rising. We have seen 3 different games from STL SC, and we're here to take you through all of them, including San Jose, Sporting Kansas City with a lowercase k, and the Houston Dynamo. But before we get into all the games, allow me to introduce myself and my co-host. My name is Ethan, and I'm joined by Jacob and Grayson tonight. Grayson, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm a little sore. Jacob's going to tell you guys why. And okay, we better get to that fast. Okay, so other than that, I'm doing good. I've started my new job. This is day 1 of week 2 of the new gig. I'm enjoying it. I put up my STL City pendant on my desk, and it's looking good. I have a little St. Louis City Stadium. What is the thing that you put your cup on?
A coaster?
A coaster.
Oh,
Thank you.
dude.
Thank you. A little guessing game for us, huh? But yeah, my desk is shaping up to very well show off my interests and my love for St. Louis City. We don't have any, for a sports company, we have no soccer, anything in there. It's all football, hockey, baseball. So I'm trying to make my mark in the office here. But yeah, I'm doing good. Doing good otherwise. Jacob, please clear up what I said.
Well, we're both sore, and that's because these two talking heads made it off the couch this weekend. We started in our first game. Well, we started our co-ed league, and the first game was Sunday at 4 p.m., which was nice. And no, the City Boys did not come away with a victory in this weekend, but the actual City Boys did come away with a victory this weekend. So, you know, we're riding the highs and lows of soccer. It was a good time. It was nice to be back out on the field. It was nice to play with Grayson again. Last time he and I linked up was back in the futsal days over the winter time. So it's been a fair few months since we've kicked the ball, and we both look pretty good out there. So excited for the rest of this league. As far as other personal things go, work's been pretty good lately. I'm having a good time. I'm enjoying myself as well. Ethan, you also have some new things in your horizons and currents.
Yeah.
So tell us, brother, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. You know, St. Louis City is playing a pretty nice role in that. As far as my job is concerned, I'll be starting as a realtor here soon in Kentucky. So if for any of your home needs, get at me. And also, a lot of my weekends recently have been spent wedding planning and just finalizing everything for the very big day coming in less than 2 weeks now. Less than 2 weeks, going to be Mr. Thornton. Very excited for that. On that note, I will be tapping out of the City Boys podcast for at least a couple episodes as I enjoy my honeymoon in Milan and Como. So you
I
guys
didn't know
will
about
be
that. That's
holding
sick.
it down. I will be touring the San Siro at some point while I'm there. So going to come back with some dope stories for the pod for sure.
Most definitely. You might run into Christian Pulisic, bro. He lives in Como.
That's the hope. That's the hope. So I can tell him, please do better for the U.S. men's national team. On that note, though, gentlemen, let's dive into these St. Louis City games that we haven't talked about in a little bit. We, like I said, have 3 games to recap on this episode. Although, one thing you'll notice about the starting 11s in this episode is that they look fairly similar. I will quickly run through the St. Louis and San Jose lineup as it will be the basis for many of the lineups. Roman Berkey starting between the sticks, of course, from left to right on the back line. We have Dante Polvara and Timo Baumgartel, 2 very steadfast defenders in the team this season. Lucas McNaughton would get the start against San Jose. Thomas Totland Edelman, Durkin, and Vollum would round out the midfield. Durkelman is a consistent force this season. It would be Leuven and Sang Bin in front of them, with Simon Betcher leading the line against San Jose. As for the 90 minutes, it would be a pretty electric return from a 2-week break in California against an Earthquake team that is ice cold, gentlemen. We talked about this on Red Smoke Rising. They haven't won a game since May coming into this game, so I know a lot of St. Louis City fans are feeling very hot. And with good reason. St. Louis City would get it kicked off pretty quickly in the 8th minute when Conrad Vollum, of all people, would get himself a fantastic assist. Yes, yep, give him his applause, show him his flowers. Absolutely fantastic work to bag an assist to Daniel Edelman for his second goal in a St. Louis City shirt. He would fire it into the bottom corner on a nice sliding shot. In the 27th minute, St. Louis City would double the lead through, as I predicted, Mr. Simon Betcher bagging a goal in San Jose. Leuven would find Simon Betcher just completely free and unmarked on a corner kick, and it would be 2-0 to STL going into halftime. Guys, I don't know about you, but I felt pretty good. Going into this game, I felt confident, and then as it played out, I felt really confident. Jacob, what was your takeaway from that first half?
My takeaway from that first half, Grayson and I went to the watch party out at Hankey's for this match, and my takeaway was that I won as well that night, the bingo game. I literally took away the Michelob Ultra soccer kit. That was my takeaway, and also Betcher was looking like we don't need a DP9. More on that later on in this episode. Grayson, you paid way more attention to the first half. What did you think?
Yeah, I mean, vibes were high. We've
Sure.
we were drinking all day. We get to Hankey's, and we really, I think, started the festivities there at Hankey's. There was a couple other massive St. Louis City fans there, and I think we gave them a home table to come and be free and cheer as much as they wanted. Shout out Aaron for joining us and helping us cheer on the team there. And yeah, we were feeling really good for that first half. We wanted some more goals in that first half. I think St. Louis was really pressing high, and we had the opportunity. And so, yeah, going into that second half, we were all very excited to see what would happen, and we knew it was going to be good.
And Grayson, it's not like St. Louis City was going to vouch for you on that. You know the second half had to have some kind of hiccup, and it would come pretty early on with a Beau LaRue banger. A very highly underrated player in the MLS would fire a volley from just outside the top of the box to bring San Jose within one. It was a fantastic goal, to be fair.
Yeah, just a clean volley off of the clearance. There's not much you can do about it. It's a clean shot, bottom right corner. Berkey, he got down for it, but I mean, it was a pisser, dude. It's hard to get on that.
It was.
Yeah, it was upsetting to be scored on, but then you look at the replay of the goal a couple times and you're like, well, if we're gonna concede one,
Yeah, you want it to
that's
be
one that you can concede and be okay with.
Yeah.
Yeah, St. Louis City haven't conceded too often since returning from the World Cup break, but the goals that we have conceded have been fairly good, to be fair. Well, that wouldn't be the only action in the second half, because Mr. Simon Betcher says brace, and he gets his second in the 54th minute after a long ball from Timo Baumgartel would find Thomas Tallinn in the box. A hip height cross would find a scissor kicking Simon Betcher, and that would be the dagger, sending St. Louis into 10 straight unbeaten in all comps. Guys, a really comprehensive victory for St. Louis City, a great road victory. I know that personally, I was a little bit concerned by the lack of change in the lineup. I was hoping to potentially see Matan or Holsa in the starting 11, and we got none of that. We've seen a very consistent starting 11 from Yohan Deme. And so my point from this San Jose game is that we are a very competitive team in the West. I think this was my takeaway prior to our next two games, but in my opinion, I think St. Louis City are a top 10 team in the MLS right now. Yohan Deme has implemented a system that has clicked. We're firing on all cylinders. We're getting the best out of all of our players from front to back. It seems like Timo Baumgartel is having a little bit of a renaissance, as well as Dante Polvara, and it can cannot be ignored. Simon Betcher's brace. He bags 2. He's got 5 goals after this game. A pretty, not the best striker season in the MLS by far, but I think that he is certainly endearing himself to St. Louis City fans. He bagged himself man of the match in this game. I think it was well-deserved. So that's my big takeaway.
Well.
Yeah, he was on Team of the Match week. I completely forgot that, Jacob. Thank you. Yeah, so I think that after this game, that was my takeaway, is that St. Louis City aren't just a good team right now. We're a very competitive team in the West, and I think right now we're fighting for a home playoff spot.
Yeah, I think it was almost jarring being at Hankey's for that. I think I said to Jacob, with all these outgoings, it's possible that Simon Betcher ends up being my favorite player from this season, which was so strange to say. But shout out Simon. He's been playing out of his mind. I'm very proud of him. And yeah, like you said, not a great first half of the season, but if you can keep up this form and finish out the second half of the season, that's a very successful season for Simon in my mind, for sure.
For those of you who've been keeping up, he's currently out of the fraud watch right now.
He's out.
New player on fraud watch for me at the moment. I'll get into that later. But at the moment, streaky Simon Betcher is no longer on fraud watch.
And Grayson, I'm glad that you brought up outgoings, because a storyline that I did not really note in this game was that this was our first game without Marcel Hartel. A lot of people were concerned just how well our attack would function, and in my opinion, it looked like a well-oiled machine. Mm-hmm. There was no Marcel Hartel, but in my opinion, the system played fantastically, even though Edu Lowen didn't exactly fit perfectly. And so, I was very impressed by St. Louis City coming out of that San Jose game. Grayson, are you ready to talk about the Kansas City, our little sister?
Yes, I would love to. Let me mute, because my mom just texted me. Okay, I'll text you back, Mom, I swear. Okay. All right, so let's head back to the starting lineup page here. Oh, am I frozen?
You're back and forth.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so back to this starting 11. No change at all for this matchup, and it's kind of exactly what we predicted. We really didn't see any reason to chop and change. Neither did DeMay, of course. We're trying to stay consistent, and we got that. The issue is we didn't really stay consistent in terms of success in our style of play here. So a couple things to note before I get into this, and this is a hard thing to say, but not this first one. This was Jovelic's last game for Kansas City. Yep. It also was Edu Lowen's last game for St. Louis. Ah, Jesus, that was hard.
Yeah, just a
moment of silence there. So the beginning of the game starts out just how we imagined. St. Louis start maintaining control of the game, but Kansas City was their press was actually very successful. They pressed very high, and it really stumped our center backs from distributing down the middle, especially in the early part of that game, and it resulted in a handful of early chances for Kansas City. Jake Davis, for all the people that tuned in, Jake Davis was Phil Neville's boy, his star boy. He could not stop talking about how good Jake Davis was in this game. And I will say Jake did have a good game. He got a couple early shots off that didn't really test Roman. Both of them actually were off target, but whatever. Late in the first half, City began to find their way through the midfield, start building those combinations and seeing some success. Edelman would send a curving cross in that would nick the post from the top of the box. And then right on the verge of halftime, we get a franchise moment. I've been playing a lot of 2K lately, and they would call it a GOAT moment for Edu Lowen. So we get a free kick right on the edge of the box. Lowen standing over it. We all know what's going to happen. We've got Dante, Thomas Totland, and Edelman crowding the wall. blocking the keeper's vision, and right before Edu strikes it, they vacate that space, and Edu sends it straight through. We would get a very fortunate bounce off of Jake Davis's backside. Clutch player, that's our star boy. And we would get our opener through that. Right on the verge of half, we really needed that because KC was playing quite well. So after the break, Kansas City would take over, really. There was a good chunk, I want to say 15, maybe even 20 minutes where Kansas City was pushing us back. St. Louis was stuck in our own territory. And it would end with them finding their equalizer. Capita makes a darting run straight through the middle, which forces McNaughton to come a little bit more central, leaving Calvin Harris out wide. It's a great ball through, and Calvin Harris would ping it off the post and in. It was a very lucky strike, but it was a good strike nonetheless. And we find ourselves even. Sang Bin had a great chance to put the game away for us on the back of his own effort. He stole the ball and bursted through. He was in on net, and he would sting it off the crossbar.
Bro.
That one hurt. And then KC would lay on the pressure for the end of the game and had a couple of big chances as well. But my point for this match was this was the only game so far I've seen in this run where STL was really unable to impose our style of play on the game. It was very open. It was very back and forth. Both teams just taking their chances really as soon as they can, just bursting the ball down the field in transition, trying to get on the end of it and trying to score. And I think a lot of that comes with it being such a big rivalry game. Both teams want to go for it. Tensions are high. And it really was tough to see St. Louis once again struggling against Kansas City. But also, I think for us, it's not necessarily because Kansas City defended with their whole team, but because their press was just so well done. There was a lot of times they won the ball back in our half when we were just making sloppy mistakes. Yeah. Very uncharacteristic of the back line that we've been seeing lately. So I was definitely dissatisfied, but happy with the point that we got. I never want to be happy claiming a point against Kansas City, but in order to stay unbeaten and keep that streak high, I was very content with that, and we can handle that. Jacob, what are you thinking?
I would like to offer a perspective change to the two of you off of this game to make us feel a little bit better about not winning against Sporting Kansas City. It's no secret that they're bottom of the table. They're definitely not going to make the playoffs, and they get 2 rivalry games a year, and this one was one that they got to host. So this game was their Super Bowl, and on the flip side, St. Louis is a playoff team. We have a lot more highlight games to come this season than any Sporting Kansas City fan can look forward to. So the fact that their best result this season in a game that was so important to them to win is a draw, and a game that on our schedule is going to be a blip in the radar is just a draw, says so much more about where these two clubs are at as far as our own rebuild processes are going. We are currently in year 1 of a rebuild, vying for a home playoff spot. They're in year 2 of their rebuild, and they are sitting at the bottom of the table.
They're dropping $20 million on players and getting denied. Like, that's got to be a crazy feeling.
Yeah, it's interesting, Jacob. I think that is a really good perspective on this match as well, because I know a lot of people, myself included, were really disappointed not to get a victory away from home in this derby match. I think that is a big piece of this that really matters to St. Louis fans. We haven't been able to win away against Sporting Kansas City, and that has been really detrimental to the club in the playoffs historically. Now, Jacob, I completely agree with you. I don't think that we will see Sporting Kansas City in the playoffs. If we do, I would feel good about that matchup. But I think you're right. I think the rivalry game did take a lot of the sting out of this game. It was a midweek match as well, and St. Louis City are pretty on fire at the moment, so I wasn't surprised necessarily to see us a little down, but I do think there's an element of man management that comes into this game that I think some people are rightfully unhappy about, but like in the wrong ways, if that makes sense. Like they're upset that Durkin didn't get rotated, for example, so that he got his yellow card and was out against Houston. But I'm content with DeMay's consistency in the starting 11. I think where it comes into play is the substitutions that are being made just a little late, in my opinion, especially given the context of this game. Sporting Kansas City definitely dominated in the second half. I think that was really apparent. So I think earlier changes could have made a difference on that front, and that's what I would have liked to see. But yeah, I think that Jacob has really opened up a new leaf for me on this game, because I was feeling pretty disappointed, all things considered, from this result. I think that on paper we should have waxed Sporting Kansas City again to sweep them in the series this season. It didn't pan out that way, but like you said, this might be locker room material for them. This is another result for us. So I think that is hopefully how the team is looking at it, and I mean potentially how they were looking at it going into this Houston game.
All right, last time, let's take a look at these starting 11s where we actually would see some changes.
You're absolutely right. A few changes because we no longer had Edu Lowen available for selection for this match.
Crazy.
He would get a little bit of a semblance of a sending off at the end of this match. But to start the game, we did see Ostrak rotated in that Edu Lowen / Marcel Hartel spot. Both of those guys exited. And then we've got Matan coming in for the game suspension for Durkin, so I guess you could call this an Edelton pairing in the midfield. And then we would see a start out of Orozco in this game. He would eventually sub off for Lucas McNaughton in this match. However, I did think that Orozco played really, really well for coming off or having not played in a fair few games. It just says even more to the depth of quality that we have at center back, which isn't my point for this match, but it just speaks to it. We would see goals to start the game, or not to start the game. The first goal came from the Simon Betcher goal. The ball was played in from Valum to Matan, who gets a touch on the ball. It's not really a pass, if we're being totally honest. He kind of bottles the settle in the box, and it's a effort play out of Simon Betcher to be the first to it, and he's able to spin on pretty much his toes and rifle it into the right, almost side net. It's not bottom corner, it's not top corner, but it is in the back of the goal, and that is all that matters for us to take the lead 1-0.
Beautiful.
Later in the match, there would be a goal for Mateusz Bogusz that was eventually called offsides via VAR. It was a fantastic finish, but shout out our back line for stepping when they did, leaving that man literally a foot offsides. It looked like about a toe, actually.
Yeah, it was so close.
As the reanimated physics that take place from the VAR offside technology, he was about a foot offsides. So, sweet, they've got a goal taken away. We get into the second half, and what happens? Houston come out firing. They do eventually get their goal back from a fantastic play. It was I'm going to butcher his name. But the ball ends up finding him in the box from a shot from Mateusz Bogusz, which is saved by Roman Berkey and falls out to Ali. Help me out here, boys. What is his name?
Guys, I don't know.
Let me see if I can.
How do you say
pull it up?
Ibrahim Aliou.
Aliou, thank you.
Yeah, Ibrahim. Yeah.
He's able to fire it in the back of the net. Ethan did point out before I went and watched the replay that this concession for Aliou's goal is wholeheartedly on Conrad Valum. He loses his man, which is Aliou, who ends up running in front of him and getting to the ball first. In the entire replay, Conrad Valum is unfortunately just standing there ball watching.
Yeah.
And that's how we concede. Then we make some substitutions, which pushes former CDM, Dante Polvara, turns center back, for the last 20 minutes of this game, returned back into a center defensive mid. There's fantastic play down the left-hand side where Thomas Totland gets on the end of a run. He's able to cross the ball in. It takes a poor clearance deflection from a Houston defender, and the ball sets up perfectly for Dante Polvara to run on it. And with his weak foot, left foot, fires it like it's his strong foot into the bottom left of the net. City are up 2-1 in the 91st minute.
Dude.
And then
Scenes.
all we did was play defense for the next 8 minutes, and the game ended after a corner kick was called, which, having been on the other side of that personally on the field, that's a brutal time to call a game.
Yes, it is.
But it did work out in our favor in this one. I have two takeaways from this. One is extremely minor. I cannot stand Ben Olsen as a head coach. He's so close to the sideline microphone that all you do is hear him whine and complain to the fourth official. I could not do the fourth official's job. He would have been sent off in about the 22nd minute. I can't stand Ben Olsen. My actual take, though, is with all the exits and the very recent news going into this game, literally day of this game against Houston, that Edu Lowen had been traded to San Jose. Demay's ability to plug and play and the system to continue to perform on short rest with rotation speaks volumes to where this club is at. We don't have... I was talking to Grayson about this. We're not very far along in our rebuild process. We're literally a little over halfway through year one of the rebuild process. And Yohan Demay is able to plug and play the players and, like you said earlier, Ethan, get the best out of them. And we're getting quality wins over quality opponents. Houston was first in the division, in the conference going into this match, and we took 3 points off of them at home. We will see them on decision day, which, with the way both of these teams are performing, it feels like that could be a match for who is first in the West.
Ooh, I like that.
Ooh, I like how you set that up a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, Houston is an interesting one. I mean, obviously, I think it was year 2. They were our final game of the season. So there's always some storylines with Houston. They're a fun opponent. They've really turned around from being a pretty poor opponent to a pretty quality opponent really fast. They've been really good this season. I was very impressed that St. Louis were able to pull it away, especially in the way that we did with such a late winner. That's something we haven't seen in STL for quite some time. And for Dante Polvara to do it nonetheless back in the midfield, it's great to see players that are so versatile in our team that I mean, we've talked about it a lot earlier in the season before realizing how good of a center back he is, that he could, fill in the midfield, especially with, Durkin's tendency to, miss a couple games here and there. I think we're good on Edelman. I think he's a safe spot. But, if we need to rotate some minutes, we have enough depth at center back to where Polvara can move up the field if we need it. So I'm very excited to see this, rotation happening. We have a lot of midfield depth. We have a lot of defensive depth. Now let's add some forward depth, please.
Grayson, you're speaking my language. I don't know about you guys, but the vibe that I got from these 3 games that we've recapped, the Sporting Kansas City game is obviously a derby. But the San Jose and Houston games, to me, both felt like rivalries for St. Louis, or at least that's how the squad treated them. I had the sense that they had a real fire about them on both these weekend games, and that maybe they aren't well aware of the streak in the locker room, but their play exhibits that they want to remain undefeated to me. And that was something that really impressed me about this Houston game. The lightweight groundbreaking news that Edu was not going to be in the team definitely rocked the St. Louis City world, at least. And so I can imagine how that felt in the locker room without that vice captain that we have on the field. And so for St. Louis City, like you said, Jacob, to adjust, go out there and play to our best, go out against a team that hadn't conceded in 5 straight games, by the way. They had the longest scoreless streak goal prevention streak in the MLS up until this game. And then Simon Betcher, of all people, is finding the score sheet. I mean, this seems like a St. Louis City team that is reborn and refreshed. It was a performance that I expected to see against Sporting Kansas City, but I'm delighted that it came against the best team in the West as opposed to the worst. I think that does speak volumes to St. Louis City, like you said, Jacob. And this felt like a good victory for us.
Definitely was a great victory for us. We really needed that. And let's take a look at where we are in the table after these set of games. So we are currently sitting in 6th in the West. We are tied for 4th place, actually, with San Jose and our next matchup, FC Dallas. So we'll go ahead and talk about FC Dallas a little bit more at the end of this episode. But let's go ahead and tackle our Kit Clash, baby. Ring that damn bell. All right, we got a Kit Clash triple header here. And we got some decent kits to talk about. Of course, we have the San Jose Earthquakes home kit. So we saw this one last year. This isn't anything new.
It's still tough, though.
It's very newspaper-esque. It's fine. It's a little bit busy for my liking, but I don't hate it.
It is crazy the differences of opinion on this podcast because I would have expected Jacob to hate this kit.
I thought he hated it too.
I'm not too. I don't know. I think I liked this kit last season, but I'm so much colder on it now that I look at it as we talk about this.
Dude, San Jose being sponsored by some place called El Camino.
That's cool.
That's fire.
All right.
Okay, so points for a sponsor. Congrats.
Hey, we dock points for sponsors. Eventually, we got to give points for sponsors.
That's true. It's got to be a good one, though. I don't know if this is like my top tier sponsor material. It may be.
I think it pairs well with the Hispanic culture in San Jose. It's literally Spanish. San Jose is Spanish. And then El Camino. That's also Spanish. That's fire. I like that.
Connections.
Wow,
there you go.
dude, yeah.
All right, so hit me with your rating then.
Okay. Well, with all that being said, it's not a 10 or a 9, or it's like an 8.2.
Okay, I'm going a flat 7. I don't hate it.
Okay.
Like, it's a little bit busy for me. I think I've grown to like it more than season 1 for this kit. It's a little bit better. I think I probably would have rated it like a 6 last year. It's just a flat 7.
Wow. All right. Well, I'll be the villain on this San Jose kit. I was going to give it a 7.4 due to the 74 on the kit, but that feels a little too generous for me. So I'm going to go for a 6.4, honestly. I don't think I could see that on my body ever.
That's fair. All right.
I do want,
sorry.
if anyone is a kit nerd or anything, I want to know what this backstory is on the kit and why it does have newspapers on it. I'm personally not going to do the research to find out. So if you could comment below or reach out via Instagram DMs to tell us, I would appreciate it.
All right, moving into Kansas City's away kit, which we have not seen this year because they always wear their home kits against us. I do like this kit. I will say we talk a lot of shit about Kansas City kits and their Argyle, the classic Argyle look for KC, and this one is close. I think it would be Argyle if the diamonds were overlapping. If that is what makes it Argyle, I don't know, but I really like the colors of this kit. There's like deep purples, deep blues, and then the light blue accents I do really like.
Grayson likes shapes and colors, guys.
I like shapes and colors,
Me
okay?
too.
Who doesn't? And if we're talking about kid sponsors, this Compass Minerals sponsor, it fits the jersey really well, especially with that, just like all the open space in the center and like the arrow. It looks good. It pleases my eyes. If it wasn't a KC kit, I'd rate it higher. For me, it's an 8.
Wow.
Ethan, you know what to do. You go first.
Bro. I really don't like this kit, and this is despite them being Sporting Kansas City. Generously, I would say that this looks like someone went on Kit Creator, but on Microsoft Word, and played around with the shapes on there. This is not an MLS tier kit, in my opinion. This screams MLS Next Pro to me.
Wow.
This screams third division
Warm up.
team. Yeah, this is hardly a jersey, and it looks so much worse as it's next to the Houston Dynamo kit, which we'll get to. But yeah, I am very low on this kit, and the cherry on top is that I really don't like Sporting Kansas City. So full bias here. I'm gonna go in honor of our score line. I'm gonna go for a 1.1.
Jeez.
So I guess I'm going to be the only one of the three of us to stick to our guns and do this rating correctly, regardless of how anybody feels about what the shapes and the colors look like. The only thing that matters is that ugly-ass S and C badge is on it, which means this kit is deserving of a 0.
I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to argue with it. I respect it.
I do like that logic.
All right, last round, we've got the Houston Dynamo Retro Third Kit, which is pretty great, not going to lie. I love that they brought back the old Houston Dynamo logo. Everybody misses it. We got to get back to our OG logos, guys, and the Dynamo logo is just nostalgic. It's just good. And this kit is great. It's a white kit. It's kind of hard to tell, but there is some design, some texture to it. I don't really know how to describe the texture,
It looks
but it's
like
there.
stadium seating, honestly.
I'm
It
gonna
does. It
go.
kinda does.
I'm gonna go a little deeper because I think Houston is known as a space city. I think those are like solar panels from a satellite, like a space satellite.
Ooh, okay.
That's the texture vibe that I get from this jersey, which I am making up, to be fair. I am making that up. But if that's the case, I very much like that.
The designers
really
are like,
like
wait,
that.
write that down. That's why we did it. All right. Ratings. Jacob, start off with your rating for this guy.
Oh, yeah, we're a high on white kit podcast, and
Yes, we are.
It's going to continue to go with the fact that the designers decided to make this a subtle spaced theme throwback jersey, and also the Houston orange accent colors, like really nice. Yeah, I'm high on this one. I'm going to give this one a 8.95.
Dang.
Okay.
All right. All
I'm
right,
gonna
Jacob.
I'm gonna go 8.5.
8.5 is good. 8.5 is good. Guys, this is a High on White Kid podcast, so I'm going to stick to my guns. 9.2, gentlemen. This is very good. The Houston across the chest is very good. Like, anyone from Houston, despite if you like soccer or not, I think could very proudly wear this jersey.
Ethan, I really wish you'd have gone first because I thought giving it anything above a 9 was going to be despicable. So I'd like to change my rating to a 9.0 flat.
I had to make it a 9.5. Just add
Big
0.05
difference. Big
there.
difference. No, yeah, I love this kit. It clearly pays some kind of homage to the city, which is one of the best
Okay.
meanings of a kit. So, yeah, love it. And, yeah, probably wouldn't wear it, but love it.
You can't tell, but I also want to shout out the designers for the lettering on the back of all the retro kits from this year. It looks good.
Oh,
it's just
yeah,
like
so
classic college style typography. It looks really good. So yeah, if you're gonna get one of these retro kits, get a name on the back, get a number on the back. It'll look so much better. Okay. Let's close out this episode. We're doing great here on time. We're just hitting the 40-minute mark. So if you're listening, hang out just a little longer because we got our preview for FC Dallas. Now, as I mentioned, we are tied with FC Dallas for that 4th place spot. So there is potential to jump them with this match and get a little bit of a 3-point swing, whatever you like to call it, 6-point swing, whatever. Not really, but you know what All right. So FC Dallas, they were on a hot streak. They really impressed at the beginning of this season, especially with their offense, of course. We got Petar Musa to worry about as he does. Is he currently leading the MLS in goals?
If not, he's top 3.
He's definitely up there.
Fire season.
So that's a little bit worrisome, but you know what isn't worrisome? A big smashing loss to Vancouver Whitecaps in their most recent game where they lost 5-0. So if that's anything leading us into our next game, we have a lot to be excited about. I'm very excited for this matchup. It's going to be a tough opponent, just like Houston. These Texas teams are no joke, but I think we can pull out a win here. We just got to play our way and not fall into the same habits we did against Kansas City, which I don't think we will. I would love it if we could not concede against FC Dallas and they get 2 games with no goals. That would be amazing. Who else we got from Dallas to worry about? Ethan, who kind of scares you on their team?
Oh my goodness. What's the name? I'm blanking on the name of their goalkeeper right now. Why?
They actually have Daniel, who was from San
Yes.
Jose.
Okay. Yes.
Daniel's
yeah.
currently injured.
Cool.
Dang.
Sorry, bro.
Can I
Yeah.
step in? Because there's one name that I'm surprised Grayson didn't mention. Santiago Moreno. Their midfield 10.
No, we're sleeping on an American striker. I think his name is Logan Farrington.
It is Logan Farrington.
Who has been a very good complement to Peter Musa this year.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously not getting on the score sheet as much as Musa, but another attacking threat in Dallas to look out for.
Farrington has 6 goals and 2 assists on the season so far this year.
I mean, we would love if... I mean, that's almost a Simon Betcher tally. So, yeah, I think that's certainly a threat. But honestly, going into this game, I feel really good about our defense. Our defenses look pretty solid, even conceding 1 against Houston and Kansas City. Yeah, I think that we look good going into this game. I like our odds against Dallas at home specifically. If we were away, I would feel a little sketchier about this game. But the boys are on fire right now. I predict them to keep flying. I would love a proper Edu Lowen send-off in this game. Obviously, we don't know the details about when he'll join San Jose. Neither team has made it official yet. But based on Edu banging the drum and then getting tossed in the air by the players post-game, I think that is bound to happen very soon. Would love a proper Edu send-off. So those are my predictions for this game. I'm going to go for a scoreline of 2-0. I would also love a clean sheet in this game despite their attack that is very good. And I'm going to pick the man on fire, Mr. Simon Betcher, to score a goal, even though I think Sangbin definitely wants to see one hit the back of the net very soon.
Oh, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And actually, I will go ahead and give my prediction here. I'm going to say 2-1. I think we scrape by here just like we did against Houston. And I do think it will be Sangbin getting his goal. In these past couple games, he's been very threatening and been very unlucky to get the ball across that line. And I think he will do that. I had a conversation with my buddy Brett, or Gotinho, if you are familiar. He also posts some FIFA content and some St. Louis City content. But he believes that he would like to see Sangbin at that left attacking mid role and see Hulsa on the right because Sangbin loves to shoot with his right. So giving Sangbin more space to cut inside and actually be on his favored side to shoot would possibly be a bit more beneficial for him rather than just cutting in and trying to strike across the face of goal. He kind of, bend it into that far post rather. So I don't know if we'll see that. I think Demay is loving the consistency, and Sangbin has really always played on the right-hand side at all of his teams. Back at Minnesota, he also played right wing. So I don't think we'll see that, but I don't hate the shout.
Yeah, just even the skill move this past weekend of him hitting a couple step overs and cutting onto his right foot in the box. I think it's hard to take him off that right-hand side just because
Right.
of the balls he can deliver. I don't think we're going to get a clean sheet in this match, though. FC Dallas has scored in all of their last 5 games except for the one this last weekend. I can't imagine that streak's going to continue for them. And City haven't kept a clean sheet since we played Colorado. So I'm with you, or Grayson. I think it's going to be a 2-1 scoreline as well. And with everything that's happening with our attacking lineup right now, I'm actually going to take Totland.
Wow.
That's a good shout. I don't
Not the
hate it.
Thomas I thought you were going to say.
I
Thought you were gonna go for Ostrack.
Start there. I don't know who's playing left attacking mid for us week to week. We talk about consistency. This is the most inconsistent the roster's looked all year.
True.
Yeah, shout out the big man on the screen here, Carlo Holsa. Will we get a start? I think he's been working his way into fitness and into the system that we're playing. Not to a lot of fanfare. There hasn't been a ton of excitement from his end on the pitch. He's kind of looked a little cold. I think it's just a little cold. It's going to take some games to warm up. We're not getting that Marcel Hartle, Cedric Toysert insert into the league. But I think we just need a little bit longer for Holsa to unlock here.
I'm glad you brought him up, Grayson, because earlier I alluded to who was now freshly in my line of sight on Fraud Watch, and it is that man, Carlo Holsa. He has not impressed me in his minutes. He's playing way too wide, not allowing any sort of overlap between an outside back or even a center defensive mid. I don't think he's playing the role as well as Sangbin has played it this season, or even Edu plays it or has played it, and even Marcel Hartle. He's way too wide, and it's suffocating him with the wingbacks and center backs. So I think he needs to tuck in more. But right now, he's on Fraud Watch. Please take yourself off of it. You are our most expensive transfer.
I think he can. He can definitely come good. I mean, based on what we've seen from the player in Turkey, which is arguably a better league than the MLS. You know, the Turkey fans and everyone across Europe is probably screaming at their screens right now. But, it is what it is. I do think he's quite good. He's a good player. He does... I don't want to say he looked out of shape. I think he's just building back that fitness and, he'll come good. I have no doubts about that.
I gotta say, early on, I have slight doubts, and they're dull. It's a lull. It's nothing loud, all right? But these concerns, I think, could rightfully grow for a lot of fans. So I'm very curious to see Carlo Holsa's role. You know who I will think will start in that left attacking mid role, though? I think it's going to be Matan. I think that Demey is most familiar with Matan. I think Matan understands the system really well and has demonstrated to me that he can play in that attacking role. So I think we'll see Matan with Dirkelman back in play. I think that is going to be pretty much some of the first 2 names in the team sheet for Yohan Demey. Yeah, so I think that we'll see Alexandre Matan starting this coming Sunday.
Which, if we're comparing summer acquisitions, Matan has impressed way more than Carlo Holsa has, and he costs a fraction of the price.
Very happy with the Matan signing.
Yes.
At the time, I was happy with it, but I wasn't quite sure what was happening. But after seeing him in the system, it's clear he knows how to play our system, and I've been quite impressed with Matan. I love his his drive. He is a runner. He plays very well defensively. He's not going to stop. So, yeah, it's nice to see another versatile player who can play attacking mid or even play in the pivot with Edelman successfully. So, yeah.
All right, lads.
Yeah, I do have 2 little grab bags to share with us before we sign out today. Firstly, St. Louis is on a 12-game unbeaten run. The current MLS record is 19 games unbeaten. And you can guess who that was held by? The Columbus Crew. who had DeMay as their assistant coach during that streak. So, if the DeMay way is just not losing, gotta love it. Gotta love it. Let's go ahead and beat that streak. And, dude, let's make it 20. Let's make it 20.
We need a minimum of 7 more straight unbeatens.
It sounds like a lot.
We've got Dallas, Vancouver, Portland, Minnesota, Colorado, Toronto, and then New York Red Bulls is that 7th match. That's a tough 7. There's no slouches in that 7.
But as we've proven, we can beat top teams.
I apologize. Colorado's the Open Cup game, so it goes Dallas, Vancouver, Portland, Minnesota, Toronto, Red Bulls, Galaxy.
Okay, so a little bit easier on the end there.
I mean,
yes, bro. I don't think they're slouches.
What I'll say is that it seems like Yohan DeMay has St. Louis City looking very ambitious. St. Louis City are a team that want to set records this season. They want firsts in the team, anything that's available to them. They want to go and take. So I believe in the guys. I got to be honest. Right now, I'm definitely sipping the St. Louis City Kool-Aid, but I do not mind it. I am loving life as a St. Louis City fan, and I hope that everyone else this season continues to. I do hope that we sign that designated player 9 striker. I think that's just the final piece that we're missing.
I've got one more grab bag, and that is a much-deserved Team of the Week appearance for Dante Polvara and DeMay, who should have gotten a Team of the Week shout a couple of weeks ago. But, it is what it is. It's much-deserved, and I won't be surprised if we see his name on that sheet a couple more times before the end of the season.
I'm glad we get to... Oh, sorry, Jacob. Go ahead.
Nah, you go.
I'm going to say I'm glad that we get to end the episode giving Dante Polvara some flowers, man. I think he's looked immense for us this season, and when he broke into the midfield against Houston, I was impressed. I was just as impressed as his center back ability. What a player for us.
And on that note, folks, shout out to STL Soccer News for everything that they do for us. Shout out to you guys if you've been watching this long. If you have been on YouTube, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. We'd love to hear your predictions for this next match. If you're listening on Spotify, make sure you follow, rate 5 stars, and comment as well your prediction for the scoreline of the next match. But most importantly, folks, you've listened to 3 Talking Heads long enough. What you probably haven't done is went and told your mother that you love her. So go do that now. Peace.
STO. STO. STO.
St. Louis City Boys, what it do? From the arch to the booth, we talk about you. City Boys in the loop. City Boys in the loop. City Boys, turn it up, run it back. That's the crew. That's the crew. From the stands to the streets, we true. St. Louis, City Boys in the loop.
Red smoke in the sky.
Game day in the eye.
Every play, every fight.
We gon' break it down right. City Boys in the loop. City Boys in the loop. City Boys, turn it up, run it back. That's the crew. That's the crew. From the stands to the streets, we true.